A massive shockwave is currently hitting the football world. According to a sudden wave of reports, Arsenal has reached a personal agreement to sign Real Madrid superstar Vinicius Jr. This narrative is gaining serious traction, but its origin is narrow, driven almost entirely by prominent Brazilian news outlets and club insiders. There is a significant gap in the reporting. The absolute top-tier, definitive transfer journalists, people like David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano, are completely silent on this supposed agreement. Vinicius only has roughly 1 year left on his current contract, which makes a transfer physically possible right now. But that ticking clock makes the absolute radio silence from the most reliable European reporters even more suspicious. To make things more complicated, there are secondary rumors circulating that Arsenal is also pursuing Brazilian midfielder Bruno Guimaraes. The presence of another high-profile Brazilian target adds a layer of circumstantial weight to what the South American media is claiming. The stark divide between hyper-confident Brazilian reporting and the silence of Tier 1 European journalists points to a calculated media play masking a deeper issue. To understand the source of the rumors, we have to shift our focus from London to Spain. The reality beneath the surface is a hostile contract extension war happening right inside Real Madrid. Madrid is taking an aggressive negotiating stance. They have reportedly issued a final take-it-or-leave-it ultimatum: either sign the new deal or be placed on the transfer list. The first major roadblock causing this deadlock is Madrid's famously rigid internal wage structure. The club is highly resistant to breaking their established financial hierarchy. This chart shows the exact monetary gap at the center of the dispute. Madrid has placed a hard ceiling on their offer at around 20 million euros. Meanwhile, the players' camp is demanding 30 million. That 10 million euro gap proves that Madrid is unwilling to bend their strict financial rules. Because standard negotiations are frozen, the players' camp is seeking unconventional methods to break the stalemate. The friction doesn't stop at base salary. The second roadblock is Madrid's refusal to pay massive sign-on bonuses to existing players renewing their contracts, even though Vinicius is demanding one. Then there is the third and most complex roadblock: image rights. This is the percentage of sponsorship and advertising money the player gets to keep versus what the club takes. This pie chart illustrates the current unequal split. Vinicius reportedly receives just 20% of his sponsorship revenue. Compare that to concessions Madrid made for other elite talents, represented in this second chart, a heavily inverted split where the player keeps upwards of 80%. That precedent was set by Kylian Mbappe. Madrid will bend financial rules for certain superstars, just seemingly not for Vinicius. Because Madrid refuses to compromise on wages, bonuses, or image rights, standard closed-door negotiations have failed. That failure necessitates an external threat. Agents often use the threat of a departure to force a stubborn parent club back to the negotiating table. In modern football, linking a client to a wealthy, ambitious Premier League club is a highly effective way to create that pressure. This diagram maps out exactly how the information flowed. The reported personal agreement is likely a strategic leak orchestrated directly by the agent to panic Real Madrid. Notice how the information intentionally bypasses standard European journalists entirely, landing straight in the Brazilian media. Arsenal isn't necessarily being duped here. The club's management is aware of the dynamic, and they are executing a deliberate strategy of waiting in the wings. They have a clear trigger condition. If Madrid decides to call the agent's bluff and officially places the player on the market, Arsenal is perfectly positioned to pivot from a rumor to a formal bid. Whether he signs a new deal in Madrid or moves to London, the playbook remains the same. A public transfer threat is a powerful tool to bridge a 10 million euro gap.